Hello everyone and welcome back to this new video, which is all about journaling. I think that I am quite good at journaling since I have been doing it for almost 11 years now. I started my first journal when I was 10 years old and I will be turning 21 in a month, so that's quite for a long time. But journaling is such a fun thing to do. And I know that there are a lot of people out there that want to start journaling and that really want to get a journal and just start. But I also know that there are a lot of people that start journaling have a hard time with continuing. And I can understand that. I have never had that struggle myself because I started at such a young age. And it just is a hobby of mine ever since. Today I was just thinking, it's a great day. It's very sunny outside, although you cannot see the sun right now. But I will just tell you a bit about my journal. That's a fun word, journal journey. That's not a word, that are two words, okay. Anyway. And just take you along on the stuff that I use, the pencils, the stickers, the notebooks, but also maybe a little bit about how I fill up my pages. So let's start with my journal history. So I told you I started when I was 10 years old, and then my journals were like these diaries where I wrote in like, oh my god, I think ... has a crush on me? Or I went shopping and I bought this and this and this, and these are the price tags. And then it are like the most ugly clothes ever, which is quite funny. When I started high school, which was when I was 13 years old, it was more about my, also more diary kind of. Like I was the superstar in every journal and it was all about me and what I thought about everyone and about my classes, about just all the daily stuff that happened. And mostly all it was drama because I made everything bigger in my head than it actually was. But because I wrote it down, it didn't really influence me as much in my day-to-day life because I had a place to vent and it was my journal. And it's quite funny because I have all these little collages and like the most mundane pictures in it that you wouldn't really keep on your phone because storage. And it's so fun to look back at and you're like, oh my god, that picture, I really forgot about it. I wasn't really busy with making my journals look aesthetic. And in this stage I had a lot of different journals. I had my art journal, I had like a scrapbook, and I had my dream journal, and I don't know, I had so many journals. This one was purely for the things I did on a daily basis and just writing about them. And I think it was in my last year of high school, so I was about 16 years old. I stopped with like a lot of different journals and I made it all in one journal, and that's where my journals became a bit more aesthetic because they often had doodles in it or drawings and so much more. When I was about 18 years old, or maybe it was already when I was 17, I don't know for sure, I really got into spirituality and tarot cards and oracle cards and zodiac signs and astrology, and everything about that really got me going. So that's when my journals start to be more about exploring myself and about spreads, tarot spreads I did, and about bigger card readings I watched and the lessons I learned from it. I really have some highlighted places in my journal that are about lessons I've learned that I think are useful for in the future, that when I browse through my journal, flip through my journal, and I see these highlighted pages, I know like, oh yeah, this is something important, something that meant a lot to me at that very moment. And sometimes it's very interesting to read it back because you see how something you learned right then became a habit for the next years. And that's so interesting. It's also very interesting for me to see my spiritual journey along the way and how I grew into so many habits that I didn't do and didn't have when I was 17, and now I have them, and it's only in the span of 3 years. So I think the last few journals are my favorite because they are so much more in depth, and there's also a lot of shadow work in them, which is also very interesting to read back, I think. But a journal doesn't have to be something that you want to read back. If it's for you just really writing down all of your thoughts, even the thoughts that you are not proud of, that's okay. I can understand that you don't want to really read that back. So that's fine. That's about my journey with journaling and how I use my journals on a daily basis. If you want to start, a great way to start is don't force yourself to make it look aesthetic and everything, because that can come once you just mastered the basics about what you want to write down, why you want to write stuff down, or maybe why you want to make art and why you want to make art. And if you have those things clear, then you can start to really look at the more aesthetic things that come along with journaling then once you start. So now I will tell you the things that I use. I will start my second camera for this. I thought that I didn't really use that much for journaling, but when I started to gather everything so that I could take it down to the gardens, I was like, oh my god, I do use a lot. And that's maybe because I have been journaling for so long, so I also have gathered a lot of stuff through the years. So let's start off with something that I really love and is a game changer, and also a game changer for my mood, because once I have these books in my hand, boy, I am so happy. These are the Flow book for paper lovers. Flow is a magazine, and they have like these special editions for like paper lovers, and they are in all kinds of themes. I have something that's all about nature. I have also something that's for Flow book for paper lovers and flower lovers, so it's all about flowers. I know that there's one about food. There are a lot of them, and I think this is my fourth book. I also have this one, and the other two are pretty empty. All the good stuff is out of them, and the other stuff that I really liked I put into a binder so that it didn't take it in that much space anymore. But they have so many fun things in them. They have stickers, they have just like these cool scrapbook papers, these cut out stuff that you can stick into your journals, also things that you can use for wrapping, and it's just so much fun. Something else that I use are washi tapes, which I also gathered through the years. I don't really buy washi tapes anymore, but I still use them. Of course, stickers. I have many sticker books, also stickers from the paper lover books. And stickers are just so much fun. They can make every simple page look so much more fun. And don't be afraid to use those stickers, because I know people that buy stickers and never use them because they think they are wasted if they use them or something. I don't know. But I'm like, they're in my journal and I keep my journals for forever, so I still have the stickers, so that's fine. If it comes to writing material, I don't really use expensive stuff. I have bought this big bag of black ballpoint pencils about 3 years ago. I still have a lot of them. They write very smoothly. They are just perfect for me. I always write in black ink, by the way. I don't like blue ink. And I don't like gel pens because I always smudge them over the page. So ballpoint pens are it for me. Then I have some markers to highlight some stuff that is important, or like if I do some shadow work. I often work with questions, so I mark the questions so it's very clear that that's the question and the other stuff is my answer. And then I use sometimes just a lot of my art supplies like paint or just my markers if I want to make a little art piece inside of it, or like color pencils. But these are my basics that I use almost every time that I journal. I also use like glue, of course, because I also print a lot of photos at my local store that has like a photo printer. I print these like collage scrapbook things that I find on Pinterest, and then I cut them out and they are like as cute as stickers, but like personalized. And I also do this with my personal pictures because that's so fun. And if it comes to journals that I use, I have used a lot of different journals, like the diary kinds that you buy at a kid's store when I was younger. The plain, simple notebooks that I found. I also have used notebooks that I made myself. Once I got older, I really got into Leuchtturm. I think that's the name. It's a German brand, I guess. No, I'm pretty sure because some of the inscriptions are German as well. Really love this brand. They have like these a bit creamy pages, but not like too creamy. They are pretty thick. I don't know what like is the exact thickness of the pages. They have like with lines in them, with dots in them, but I always choose the blank pages because I love this so much. I remember once I had this travel journal when I was traveling with a bigger group of teenagers. And when we got home and we were in the bus, we were like writing down little messages for each other in each other's notebook because everybody had a notebook. It was so fun. And I remember that everyone was like, why don't you have lines in them? That's so difficult to write in. And I was like, no, this is so much more beautiful. It also has a little pocket on the last page. And like this elastic band, which is very nice for if you have very junky notebooks. They're a little bit expensive, but I know that I really love journaling, so I just buy them because I know it's worth it, for me at least. But I can imagine if you're a starter that you're searching for something that isn't as expensive. And I know that there are on Amazon a lot of similar looking notebooks. So I would go there if you're searching for something. And now we've come to the fun part, which is how I make my pages look cute. I have started this journal the 27th of May, which is 2 weeks ago. So there's not a lot of stuff in this yet. I often start with like a page with a picture of me so I can see how I looked and how old I was when I started. As you can see, this doesn't have a picture of myself yet. Sometimes I write letters to people. Sometimes I keep, you cannot really see it, like game scores, or I make little doodles. I also have like pages with dried flowers. Sometimes just plain little drawings. And I think this is my last page from this journal, so I will take one that's completely filled up. So I also always write down on the spine the dates. When I start a new journal, I often do like these get to know me spreads because I think it's very fun to see like an evolution of myself. Collages and my tarot reading, just little doodles. Gratitude lists. And sometimes the most random things. Here you have like these little diamonds that I wore to a concert that I wanted to keep. And then like these collages. Polaroids is also very fun to capture like an event you go to. Lyrics. I love lyrics. Putting in letters for future me, that's also something very fun that I've been doing since like my very first diary. And it's so fun to read back because I often make predictions and sometimes I'm like, oh my god, that's so funny. You know, like I had this relationship when I was in elementary school. I think I wrote the letter to a 16-year-old me and I was like, do we still have a relationship? And I thought that was so funny because I was like, of course not. Well, it can be, but it's an age you really change a lot. So I thought it was really funny. And also, like, do we still play this game? I also believe one of the questions was like, what bra size do we have? And I was like, girl, you're too funny and you don't even know it. More collages. I took this Skillshare class about drawing into your journal. I will write it down in the description if you have Skillshare and you're interested, because that was very fun. Very often I also do manifestation work in my journal, not like manifestation mood boards. I make those on Landing Space. That's an online app. I will also link it down in the description, but go follow me, by the way. I often also do new moon spreads because I love those energies and it's fun to really look upon the month ahead of you. This is the journal from before. I'm just flipping through so that you can get some inspiration. Opening page. So many tarot spreads in this journal. This book is also from Leuchtturm, but it's a size bigger than the journal before. I want to show it. So they have different sizes as well. Pages and pages. Who doesn't love it? Birthday cards. That is so fun. I love friends that make like their own birthday cards. Like I got this from a friend and she knows I love tarot. And this is from my cousin because she took me to the Barbie movie, which came out around my birthday. That's so fun that she made this. Okay, so we need to keep it because they put in the work. Okay, I need to speak harder. I love photo booth strips. And signs. You can put in signs. That's also very fun. And it works very great if you want to make it chunky. Oh, I also rate like new albums that come out. That's also a fun thing to put into your journal. Some oil, how do you call it? Oil pastels. Using some oil pastels because that's fun. You know, ooh. I know I did this, but sometimes I forget the things that I do. I like to write stories and sometimes I just have these little stories inside my head and I just write them down in my journal and I like highlight the corner so that I know that it's not part of my life, but it's just like a little story I thought of. Also fun to write down. Another reason why your journal doesn't have to look perfect all the time is because often I take it with me when I travel by train or when I'm going outside and I don't want to pack all this stuff. If I write my thoughts down in the train, it's purely because I want to write down my thoughts and not because I want to make an aesthetic page. So I think journaling is also about looking at what you need from day to day. Do you need to really get your creativity out and make some fancy pages? Then you make some fancy pages. But if it's just you wanting to vent or just you wanting to write about yourself as if you're the main character, that's fine too. If it's just you wanting to doodle something that doesn't have to look perfect, that's also okay. If it's just a tarot spread that you want to reflect upon, that's also okay. If it's just shadow work, that's also okay. You get the point. It's just look at what you want, what's the purpose, and then what's the best way to achieve it. And if that's something aesthetic, you go. But if that's not the main point, don't force yourself to make it look aesthetic, because maybe you don't really get to the point of what the actual purpose is about. So with all that said, I hope you like this video. I really get excited about talking about journaling, and I think my voice memo also knows that, because oh my god, I have been talking for about 45 minutes. My battery was empty, so but that was perfect timing. I just wanted to say thank you for listening to this video. I hope you get just as excited about journaling as I do, and if you're also into journaling, maybe you can share some of the tips you have, or if you start journaling, I really hope you will find it just as entertaining as I do. And without anything else to say, I hope I see you in my next video, and bye!